All right. Well said. That was exactly what we learned, and I'm happy you were able to recap. So what we learned yesterday, or could I say our focus topic or topics yesterday, were introduction to web programming. So under which we talk about what is coding of websites. They will also talk about IDE, which is the integrated development environment. We also talk about uh, starting with your website projects. So a DBIN client gives you a website contract to build for him or her, how you are expected to start developing the website, where I mentioned you have to start by creating a root folder or a project folder. In other words, a folder that harbors all your designing resources. Then after that, you need to also nest other web folders inside the root folder. That is where we came up with IMG, a folder designed to hold all our images. We also came up with a CSS folder, a folder intended or with an intention of storing all our styling code or scripts. We also created a JavaScript, and then later on we created media. So my emphasis was each time you are creating this folder, you should attach purpose to them. There should be a reason why you need those folder. And I told you the reason is to segment your designing resources so that you can be able to package them in a way that you can easily reach out to those content or resources. All right. So the next thing we learned was how to call in or to install the project folder into our development environments, which is Visual Studio Code. And then after that, I explained how you can install an extension called Live Server that helps you to keep updating uh, or refreshing your browser as you continue with your development. Then after that, we look at, I think we were studying the HTML, but before then, I taught you how to invoke the default simple HTML file structure. Then after that, I think I was explaining each of the tags that came with the default HTML file structure before we ended it at body. And I said, in our next class, I'll be starting with body tag, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So let me start by activating our development environment, which is Visual Studio Code. So being the last file we work with is going to automatically resume that interface. So this was exactly where we stopped yesterday. So I have already explained the whole of this tag. I have also explained this. I have explained this. I have
Yes,
explained
I'm in
this.
class.
I have also explained this, also explained this, and then we have to start from here. So you write HTML, the body tag. So I just want to conclude the explanation of this simple default HTML file structure before we take tag properly as a topic. Okay, I think okay, so let's just have it sorted out before we proceed. So the body tag uh constitute or holds all the visible content in your browser. So let's take, for instance, remember I taught you how you can always view your front end while you are developing. I said to do that, since you have installed your your extension, you just simply right-click anywhere within your HTML file and then select Open with Live Server, and that will prompt us the front end, that is the user end, that will display any content we must have developed. So at the moment, you can see that the whole of the body section of the browser is blank. There is no content. Why? Because we have not written anything inside this body section. We have not written anything here. That is what is happening. So anything you want the browser to display on its body, because this is the head or this is the heading of the browser, which provide us information like the description of the document, which we encoded through the title tag. Okay, so because we have not coded or written any content in the body tag, that is the reason why we are not seeing anything. So let's quickly look at HTML tag properly. Remember, I have defined the body tag as the tag that holds all the content that will be displayed or visible on the browser body. Is that clear? Is that clear? Is I need you to quick respond so that,
Yes, sir.
okay, all right. And I hope you are also making your notes as usual.
Yes, sir.
All right. So now there is what we call comments, because that is what I'll be using to talk to us now. I will not be going back to my slide. So I want you to write programming comment, because I'll be using that subsequently as we proceed with the class. So what is comment? Comment in programming means a non-executable statements, non-executable code, or you can as well say what? Non-executable statements in programming. It is referred to as what? Comment. Then another fact about comment is that they are just for explaining your code, either to yourself or to a third party. So as I'm going to be writing comment at some point, I expect you to know that anything I write in a comment, I'm not intended to display it or the program to display it to the user. It's just for me, just for explaining my code. So how do we activate comment in HTML? Now, if you look at your keyboard, you will find control button, and then towards your right hand side, just after the greater than sign and the less than sign, you will see /. So once you have held down the control button, you press, and that is where you have the question mark, that very button where you have the question mark. So once you have held down the control button, you press that /. You see what came out. So this is a comment. This is a comment. So if I want to make my code more visible, I could just press Ctrl+. You can see it, Ctrl+ to zoom out or to zoom in my code. Then Ctrl- is to what? To zoom out. So in case you are writing and your code appear too small, you can combine Control button on your keyboard and plus to magnify it, and then Control plus minus just before the plus, and then to what? To string it. Did you understand that? Exactly.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. So that is how to work with comments in programming. So that is how to work with comment. Now, this is the comment symbol. Now, what do I want to achieve with this comment? I want to use this comment to be writing the topic. So whatever I am writing in the comment, so like I was explaining, whatever I am writing in the comment, you are expected to be probably converting it to your notes. So what do I want to tell you with that comment? So just to introduce this session topic. So we are looking at HTML,
Sir,
HTML.
I can't see your screen now.
Oh, you can't see my screen? Okay, so let me,
Sir,
can you see it now? Please confirm if you can see my screen now. Hello, can you see my screen now? Favor, can you see my screen? I was asking if you can see my screen now. Can you see it now? Favor, can you
no,
see my screen now?
no.
Can you
Okay, it's
see?
coming up. I'm seeing it now.
Okay. Please, once you can see it, let me know.
I can see it now.
All right. So the tonight topic is HTML tag. HTML tags. HTML tag. So we want to start discussing HTML tags properly. Though in the course of yesterday explanation, because of trying to explain the default file, I have already talked about tag rather, but I just want to focus on it because I'm going to create more tag uh, other than these default tags that came out as we activated the HTML structure. So how do we define tags? I told us that tags are used to define structure and content of the web pages. Tags are used to define the structure and the contents of the web pages or of web pages. I believe that is clear. Tags are used to define the structure and the content of the web pages. Now, I also simplified it yesterday that tags are the keyword that are surrounded by angle brackets. And I also said that the browser, which is our testing technology, uses the tags to determine how the content will be displayed or presented to the users and keep the tag to itself. That is why I showed us how to view the front end yesterday. When we display welcome to home or food, you notice that the title as a tag was not displayed. The only thing the user got was the content. And remember, I also explained under the tag structure that HTML tags has 95% of HTML tags has three sections. And the sections are the opening section, which is denoted like this, and the closing section, which is denoted as this. And I said, whatever that comes in here whatever you impute here is the content we are talking about, which the users can see. So the browser will display the content to the user, but not whatever you have inside this angle bracket. So whatever we have inside the angle bracket, they are what we are calling what? The building block or tag. They are what we are calling tag. It's just that one is opening tag, while the other one is what? The closing tag. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Good. I just want to refresh your memory because we have done that. Now that we are focusing on the tag as a topic. Now, remember how I just defined tag now. I gave an illustration yesterday that this tag should be seen like the building blocks which are used to formulate your building structure. Okay, so for you to be able to create any content on this website, on this browser, or across your website pages, you need to consult the HTML tags. So please do not forget they are the building block. Now, I want to start by displaying about Digital Z or about this particular company that we are building this website for. Remember yesterday, we have been able to find out the type of website you want to build for them. So now that we are ready to build the website, we need to know their name. So let's say their name is what? Delicious, delicious food, for example. Let's say their name is what? Delicious food. Now, how do I display in the browser body about delicious food? That is, I want to say something about them so that when I give the URL to our users, they will be able to see on the index page, which I described yesterday as the landing page about delicious food. So that is the content. That is the content which we said the HTML tags help us to develop or to add to website pages. Now, every content you want to add suggests the type of tag. Okay? If I want to publish image here, that will suggest a type of tag because there is a tag for adding or publishing images across my website pages. So the same thing if I want to publish heading, because about delicious food is a heading. So if I want to publish heading, there are also about 6 different tags that can be used to create heading within your website. So I just want us to know that for every content you want to create, you need to factor out the corresponding, the right tag for achieving that. So I want you to watch what I'm going to do. Like I said, the tags here is create heading. Create heading. That is a tag. The tags rather. What we are asked to do. We are asked to create heading here. Now, because the tags mention heading, there are 6 tags you can use. So I can just come here. We have H1 to H6. So you can just type H1. So you can see that as soon as I press H, you can see all of them listed out. We have H1, we have H2, we have H3, we have H4, we have H5, and then we have H6. Please, in case you want to say anything, use the reaction button because right now I have connected the earpiece. I may not hear you when you are talking. Did you get
Okay.
that information?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we have H1, we have H2, we have H3, we have H4, we have H5, and then we have H6. All this series of heading, the H there represents heading. And what I want to create, which is about delicious food, is heading. So it is within my prerogative to know whether to decide whether to use H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6. Okay, so now in this case, I want to use H1. So H1 is the first tag we are explaining. So in your notes, you write under the example of HTML, structural tags. HTML structural tags. We are starting with H1.
For the
And how do we
sir,
define?
for the H1.
In fact, let me not just say H1. Let me just say heading tags. So that definition covers from H1 to H6. Heading tag. That's the first set of structural tag we are looking at. So how do we define them? These are set of, okay, you have question? All right.
Yes.
Okay, go
Yes,
ahead.
sir. Sir, this H1 and this thing you're calling, this has right under what?
So the heading should be HTML heading. Sorry, you first of all write HTML structural tags. Did you get that?
Yes,
HTML
sir.
structural tags. So these are the first set of tag we are looking at. Then after that, you write example. The first example, you now write heading tag. You now write heading tags. Have you written that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so under heading tag, in a bracket, you write H1 to H6. Just write in the bracket H1 to H6. Hope that is taken.
Yes, sir.
All right, so I can continue now. Now, like I said, I want to start with H1. Just type the keyword H, and then it will pop out all the heading, all the tags that start with H. So you decide which one. So if I click on H1, you see that it has given me the complete tag, but this tag has no content. Now, if you look at it here, you can see that you have not written anything between the opening section of the tag and the closing section of the tag. So if I go to the front end and refresh, no content is displayed. Why? Because you have not supplied content, because you are dealing with a complete tag. So now what do I want it to display to the user? I will write about, delicious, delicious food. Now, if I go back to the website now, you see that what? You have it displayed. Did you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, like I was saying, the type of content you want to display determine the type of tag to use. So why did I use H1? It is because I want to create heading. Now, this same text that I created with H1, I want to show you if you create it with H2. Let's say I use H2 and I copy and paste the content, Control C, and then I come in between the opening tag and the closing tag, and I press Control V to paste. Now, if I go back to the front end, what can you tell me as the difference between the one I created with H1 and the one I created with H2? What's the difference?
The other one is a subheading.
In terms of size, which one is bigger?
H1.
H1, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so they have pre-designed sizes. That is the difference. But don't bother about that because that is what we will facilitate with the CSS. So for now, I just want you to know that H1 is the highest, followed by what? H2, followed by H6. So if I type H6 now, for example, and I duplicate, I paste the same content. If you go to the front end, you can see that what is far smaller than the one you created with the H2 and the one you created with H1. So just know that out of this heading tag H1 to H6, which one is the highest?
H1.
Good. Perfect. So now let me go back and stick to justice. Now, I want to add another content. This is just a header. Now, I want to say something about this food. I want to describe, because when you write heading, it means you are about, that is just heading, then you need to explain it. So to explain it, that will take us to another tag entirely, which is called paragraph. So you write now another example of HTML structural tag. These are tags we use in creating content. That is why they are called, or to define the structure of your website. So the next example is what? Paragraph. Paragraph tag, which is denoted with what? This, just P tag. So each time you activate this tag, it is called paragraph tag. So what is the core function of this tag? You write, the paragraph tag is used to write articles. It is used to write article or multi-line tests or multi-line tests. That is what? More than one line. So in other words, it is used for explanation. So whenever you write a heading and you want to say something about that heading, you use paragraph tag. Did you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, I want to say something about delicious food. So I will come here and press enter and type just P. Once you type P, you press enter, it will bring out the complete paragraph tag structure. So now I need to also supply the content. Now, if I have been given the content by the client, what I will simply do is to, maybe the client must have typed it and sent it to me through
Wait, sir.
Microsoft Word. So I
Sir.
can just go to Microsoft Word and copy and paste
Sir.
it here. You have question?
Sir, the brackets, did you put them yourselves? Like when you want to type the P and you put the first bracket, will you put the first bracket?
No, 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 no. Once I tap P, let me do it again. Let's say I don't have it. I press P. Once I type P, just to have good code formatting. Now, if I type P like this and press just enter, it's the one that will bring the bracket itself. Did you understand it now?
Okay.
Is that taken?
Yes, sir.
All right. So now let's assume that the client have not given me the content. So let's just quickly go to uh, Google and search for something about food. So let's just say about food. I just want to generate content we can use. So food is any substance consumed to provide nutritional support. Now let's assume that I want to take the whole of this as my paragraph, as my explanation for that heading. I'll copy it, then switch back uh, to my development environment. Then make sure that your cursor is blinking between the opening tag of the paragraph tag and the closing tag, just like mine is blinking now. Then you can either right click there and select what? Paste, or you copy and paste. So you see you have created a whole paragraph. Now we will go to the front end just to check. So I will just bring my cursor here. I'll hit enter in order to return me to the beginning of the line. So let's go back to the front end and see if those content has been updated. So when you come here, this is the front end. So you can see that I've added what? Two different content. I've added header and then I've added what? Paragraph. So I'll pause. I want you to replicate the same thing before we proceed. Now you can share your screen and do the same quickly so that it doesn't get too much.
Okay. So this is the body part. I will I want to give it I want to like the um front end users. I want them to see what the site is about. Since I've already said clothes by Dima, I want to show them what the site is about. So I want to give them more insights now. I will now search for HTML tags. No, I will do control
/
slash
code
mm,
to activate comment, right?
to bring the comment for the HTML. Now I write HTML tags. Then it will help me present like the information I want to give the viewers. The tags, it will help me present it to them the way I want it to present it to them.
Which
Then
one is
I'll
that?
do that again.
Is it the comment?
Eh?
Don't
Yes.
forget, I said the comment are just for explanation of your code. They are not going to be displayed to the users. Hope you
Yeah,
remember.
they're not going to, I know, and yes, they're not going to, I know they're not going to show the users.
All right.
So first of all, it will have a heading. So I will write create heading because so that the site will have at least a heading. Then I will now type H. Then I've seen H1 to H6 here. So I'll use H1 because for heading, this is the boldest letter. This is the boldest one. So I'll use this one for the heading. Then maybe I want my heading to be about the brand or something. I will write about the brand, about Dima. So I will go and I will check to see that if it has popped up, then
Good.
it has popped up.
Good.
So then I want to have content. I want to like about Dima. Now I have to have something to say about the Dima. I will now introduce paragraph tags. I'll just type and see the paragraph tag here. So now that's when I'll now get this thing, the content. This they have already given me the open tag and the close tag. So the content I want to put, maybe I want to say Dima is a personally, maybe etc. And so much as you want to say it. This will let me go to this thing how. But
Perfect.
maybe it's too tiny. Is
Okay.
it okay?
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Don't worry. It's okay.
Okay. But so what if I want to make it like what if I want to
No,
make it bigger now?
no,
How will I
don't worry.
would I
Don't
change it?
worry. Don't worry. Let's keep going. You get to find out soon. Don't worry. So I just want
Okay.
you to replicate what I did. So you can share your screen and let me continue.
Okay.
So that was actually a good one. That was a good one. Shows that you are actually following. All right. So just to continue, now we have been able to publish two different contents. One is the heading, the other one is the content. Now we want to support this with an image. So we are going to actually we are learning 3 tags today. And then we'll look at how to probably style them. That is where CSS comes in to resize it. The work of HTML is just to display the content, to help you publish the content. Then any other modification, then CSS will come in. So I just want us to learn how to work with 3 tags. So I've explained 2 already, because both H1 to H6 are assumed to be one tag because they are used for the same purpose. Then P tag is the second one. Then the third tag we want to learn tonight is what we call image tag. So I hope you are writing image tag. So how do we define image tag? So an image tag is an HTML special tag for adding images to web pages. It's an HTML special tag for adding images. Okay?
Sir.
Yes?
Sir. The tags, must they always, you see how you're writing, because image tags and you wanted to add it. You went back to add it so that all of them will be on the same line. Like as this, the tags, must they all be in the same line?
Is it here?
Yes.
Is it the comment you're talking about?
Oh, the comments, sorry. Must they always be together?
Yes, just no. No, it's not compulsory. You can actually, the whole of these comments, they are optional. I can decide to do away with this comment just because I am teaching you. You understand? It's because
Okay.
I'm teaching you, but even outside teaching you, it is professionally advised that you use comment to explain any section. For example, now, the best place I will have positioned this comment tag is here, so that when you are reading the note, you will know, okay, what comes after it is what? The image tag. All right? So you are not supposed to be going back, but just that I just want to separate all my comments because I'm using this section as my board. But when you are coding, that very point where you are introducing that element, that is where you are supposed to add the comment so that you can explain what comes after it. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I can decide to also put it here, but I just put it at the top because I'm using this section as my note. So I was defining what an image tag does. As web programmer, what do we achieve with the image tag? The image tag is used to add images to our website pages. You cannot use H1 or P tag to add image. So I want pictures that talks about this particular service, the service of this company. I want to back it up with an attractive image. So how do I publish the picture here? That is where the image tag comes in. So how do you activate the image tag? Just simply type img. Once you type img, you will see what? Image, img. So you click on this. So this is an image tag. Okay, so I want you to write
That
it.
it depends on what you save the file as, ba.
No, 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 no. It has nothing to do with what I use in saving the file. This is the keyword, just like I can save my file as heading and still call what? H1. Okay, so this has nothing to do with this. It's just that I name it because I'm used to calling this tag. Did you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now you can see that this particular tag structure is quite different from this. You can see that this one comes with 2 additional information. This is one, this is another one. But this one just gave us the tag names without giving us any additional information. Now, all this, that is what you also have here. You can see that after HTML, you have lang equals to English. The same thing here. After meta, you have character set equals to UTF-88. Now, whenever you see additional information outside the tag name itself, it is called attributes. So I want you to note it down, HTML attribute, because at this point now, I need to bring in what an attribute does. So by definition, an attribute provides additional information. An attribute provides additional information about HTML tag or element. About HTML tag or element. So for example, this SROC is an attribute that will help us to describe this image tag more. The auth is another attribute. So I'm going to show you briefly what each of these attributes, even I'm going to add more attributes as we continue, because most time there are default attributes that comes with a tag. And in some cases, you have to bring in the attribute yourself. So I will show us how to do all that. Now, what is this attribute? Right, example, remember what you write now is image tag structure. Image tag structure. So the first part of it is the tag name, which is what? IMG. Then the SROC is one of the attributes that helps us to provide the path, the URL, the location where the picture will be cut from. Because we are saying that we want to...
Please go again.
You said?
Please say that again.
I said the SROC, which means source. That is the full meaning. Source. I said it is an attribute that defines the location, the URL, where the image will be cut from. Remember that when we created this image folder, we added this picture inside. Now I am going to call this Gary piece 1. I'm going to call Gary piece 1 from this particular folder. And that is what the program is asking for, that the picture you want to display to the user, where will the browser call the image from? So I will come to this attribute. An attribute have name. Let me explain it. So the whole of this part here is the attribute name. Is the attribute name. Then the whole of this area that I want to cycle now, which includes, sorry, does not include the C, that is the equals to, and these two quotation. The whole of that section is what we call the attributes. Attribute value. So how do I recognize attributes in HTML tag? It will always have two sides, the name side separated with the equals to and the what? The value. So you see that the values are empty. If you check this one now, this one provided the value called UTF-8. This one provided the value called what? English, which is what? Represented with EN. Now, but these two has no value. So you have to provide the value. So the language knew that you will be the one to supply your URL. So what we are going to do is to tell this attribute that you are to call picture from this folder. So whenever somebody visits this website, call the picture from my image folder and display the picture to the person. So that is what you are trying to explain. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, this very one that you have here, this auth attribute, in case the browser or the person's device could not decode the picture, maybe due to absence of a plugin, maybe the device is not, or the device does not have what it takes to be able to read the picture, then it should display alternative text. That is what this stands for. That auth means alternative. Alternative Sorry, that is R, alternative text. That is what it represents, alternative text. So this will only be involved when this image does not display. So in as much you are able to display your image, this will never what display. So I want you to watch me now as I implement what I just explained. So I will put my cursor inside that quotation and press forward slash and press forward slash. Just press forward slash. So the moment you press that forward slash in programming means comment. So what you actually said is that call all the sub items in my what root folder. And what are the sub items? We have CSS, we have image. So from here, you already know the one you are targeting, which is what? This is where you are calling image from. So you now tap the image to now bring out all the pictures you have stored there. So you now pick from one of these pictures. So if I click here now, automatically the picture will have been displayed. So let's go back to the front end and check. So you see that I have the picture here. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
So now, let me do it again. I want to display this very one, the Gary piece 2. So I will now come here. I will type ing again, press enter. So when it brings out the source and the alternate, you also go in there and press what? Slash to output all your directories. Then from here, you target the one you want to get the item from, which is what? Gary piece 2. Then if I go back to my front end, I have what? 2 of them. So all the pictures you see published in every website were created with which tag? I'm asking. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Little, you're cracking.
So can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I was asking that all the pictures you see in the website, for example, now, this picture, how were they created? Which HTML tag did they use to publish them? So you cannot still hear me.
Image tag, sir.
Image what? Tag.
Image tag.
Good, good, good. So now I will pause and then I will allow you to update your web page. You have created your heading, you have created your content. Then I want you to add 2 pictures as well quickly before
Okay,
I
sir.
proceed. You can share your screen as well.
Okay. So now I want to add image, my image tag. So I can be able to add pictures to the site. But this one is comment tag. So I will do, wait, I will type in then the img will already come out. So this is what will come out because it's very different from others. Because one would be able to display the the one will be able to get where the picture, this is where the picture will come from. Then this one will be able to display alternative text if the picture cannot be able to be displayed. So now that I have this tag in between two
Quotation.
the 2 years, in between the 10K, in between the two quotations, I will now type in my slash to be able to, I want to get the images now. That's already come out. So I'll just put in this one. Then the 3 images I have. First of all, put the first one. This has already replicated in my site. So just to confirm,
Good.
it has already popped up here.
Add
Yeah.
one more picture.
So
Add one more picture.
okay, so I want to add one more picture here. It's the same process. I will type in my img the same way I did the other one. The second one, just the same way it has come out same.
Perfect. All right, good one, good one. You are actually responding as if you have been building websites so fast. I hope you are not lying. It's like you have been doing it before. Because you are really catching very, very fast. That is good. All right. So now there is a challenge. There is a challenge. Now we are going to bring in CSS. There was a question you asked. So, and this is where we will now end it after the CSS, so that I'll give you serious assignments that will engage you from now till when we are going to meet next. Now, remember I told us when I was explaining the front end languages, we mentioned HTML for what?
Huh?
For creating
So what did
content.
you say?
Now, when I was explaining the front end languages, I said
Okay.
HTML is for creating what?
Content.
Good, good. Now, have we been able to qualify it, that statement?
No. Oh
Eh?
yes.
I thought you are going to say no. What are the contents you have
I said
created now?
yes.
Good. What are the
Yes.
contents? How many contents have you created now?
3. The heading,
Heading?
the body, and the images.
Good. Now, how did I describe CSS? If your note is close to you there, how did I define CSS as a language?
You said it presents the page in a structured way for users to operate it efficiently.
I said the CSS are for decoration, for styling, right? Those contents
Yes.
HTML have created. Now, HTML have created about us, but do you like the way this about us is presented?
No.
You can see that this letter A is supposed to be what?
Capital.
Good. Now, if you remember, I also said something about CSS. When I was explaining CSS, I remember you asked me that, sir, how does it connect with UI and what? US, right? And I said, whenever
Yes.
you are
Yes.
developing a website, because the whole of this page now is a web page, at the same time, it could be referred to as what? Web application. So we just build an application now. And this application is not user friendly. How do I know? It's not colored. You can see that some of the things are not well structured. This picture, we need to increase their size so that this space will be engaged. Maybe we increase this one to stretch from here to somewhere here, and then we expand this one to fill up the remaining space on that same line. Then probably this text, we change the color to maybe to one of the color in the image, maybe this color, in order to balance the color. So at this point, we are bringing in CSS, okay? I told us that we'll be learning CSS and HTML together. So we are learning 2 languages together. After a while, we will now bring in what? JavaScript to begin to add some action to make this picture to be probably moving, or make this picture to be shaking, or to have some effects. That is when we will bring in JavaScript. So let's briefly look at introduction to CSS. So I will use comment introduction to CSS. So what is CSS again? CSS is one of the front end language which is used to style, to beautify, to decorate, to determine the presentation of your HTML developed contents. Now, for example, we want to start by making the whole of this or only the first letter or everything capital letter. So you have to assess and know which one do you think is more user-friendly. Is it when all the letters are in capital letter or when only the first letter in each word is capital letter while the rest are small letter, or when all are in capital letter? So you need to calculate which one do you think will be more user-friendly. So that is up to you as a programmer. So now there are three ways we can actually add CSS. So that will be my next topic, CSS addition method. CSS addition method. CSS addition method. I said there are three ways we can add CSS. The first method is inline. Inline. So inline is where both the HTML, that is what, where both the HTML, code.
Sorry, please, can you go back? I don't understand. This inline, I don't understand.
So
From
I
the
said
inline,
the topic is what? CSS
CSS
addition
addition methods.
methods, right? And I said there are three ways you can add CSS to HTML elements in order for them to be styled. And the first one is called inline CSS addition. Let me complete it. CSS addition. I believe it's clear now.
Yes, sir.
Right? So
Did you type it in? Did you write? I want to wrote number one inline.
Yes, I'm the one that wrote number one. I type one. The whole of this is comment. I'm trying to write. You know, it's a board now. I'm using the comment as my board to explain to you. So you are supposed to be transferring it to your notes as I'm writing it. Is that clear?
Okay.
Is that clear?
Wait, sir. This is it from this CSS addition you entered to the next line?
Yeah. No, I press enter here. I press enter.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Yes, I'm still in that comment. Look at the closing comment now to say that I'm still writing this.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I understand.
Okay, so what I'm trying to do here is that I'm trying to explain what is what inline CSS addition. I say this is where both the HTML code and the CSS code are written in same line. That is why it is called what? Inline. For example, let's say I want to style this about us. That is what we want to transform. We want to change all of it to what? Maybe a capital letter. So the question is that how do I want to attach the CSS, which is the styling program, to this content? I was okay, this same line, which is the line I wrote the HTML, I want to use that same line. That is, I am writing the CSS on the same line. And if that should be the case, you now go to the opening section of that tag that you want to write the CSS inline. You make sure that the cursor is blinking inside. You space first. So once you space, the way you will introduce CSS, you type style. Once you type style, so this style is an attribute. Remember, I just explained attribute, right? An attribute provides additional information about the HTML element. So what is this style attribute providing right now? It is only providing the CSS code to this HTML. So I will now write, then when you are working with CSS, then what we call CSS property. CSS property, just like the way you have HTML tag. Okay, so when you are in HTML, you'll be using terms like tag and attribute.
tags, and attributes. Then when you are in CSS, you'll be using terms like properties and value, properties and value. Now, what do I want to do? We determine the property. What I want to do is to change the whole of this write-off to capital letter, or only the first letter to be capital letter. So I will now find out what CSS property can do that for me. Which of the CSS property can give me that transformation? So that is what you should know as a programmer, as a web programmer. Now, I will start by typing test transform. That is the name of the CSS property, test transform. So once you type the first word, if it drops it, fine. You can see it here, test transform. Then how do I want it? I want capitalize. That is, only the first letter will be in capital letter, while the rest will be small letter. Now, if I click here, so in other words, this is a CSS structure. From here to this place is the CSS property, separated with the column. Then after the column, I define the value based on what I want. And then you end it with what? Semicolon, just like the way you end your tag with that forward slash. So how do you show that you have ended that property? Probably you want to call another property. You end it with what? Semicolon. Now, if I go to the front end to check if this text has actually been transformed, I will just click. Then I'll ask you now, has it been transformed?
Yes, sir.
What did you notice that change?
The first letters, it turned capital.
Now, I want you to take note of this appearance, whether if we display the first letter capital letter, while the rest small letter, whether it's going to be more user-friendly or not. So now let me go back here. I want to change it to another value. If I want all the letters to be capital letter, what you should be writing now in your notes under what? CSS property. Example of CSS property. You write tests under test-transform. Then column, capitalize. You write the meaning. This is to make only the first character in a word capital letter or uppercase, while the rest
again, sir.
From where?
Examples of CSS properties, text transfer.
Example of CSS property, number one, test-transform. Test-transform. By definition, this property is used to change case or letter case. This property is used to change letters case. So the word change case means, the word case means the appearance of the text. If it is in capital letter, we say what? It is uppercase. If it is only the first character of each word, it is called capitalized case. Did you get that? Hello? Is that taken? Are you still with me here? Hello? Hello, are you hearing me? Can you hear me now?
Sorry, you're cracking. Oh.
Okay, I was actually timed out before. Can you hear me now?
Yes, but you're still cracking.
Oh, okay. If you can hear me now, is it better? Still cracking?
Yes, sir.
Is it better or still cracking?
A little, but it's okay.
Okay.
It's better.
So like I was saying, I was trying to explain the property, right? Have you written the definition?
So you're cracking, oh.
Okay, let me try and see if I can change. How is it now? Is it better now? Is it better? Hello?
Yeah.
I was asking if it's better.
It is now.
All right. So I think I was still explaining the test transform property, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, there are different values. The main property is this, that you can change the value to have different what appearance. So for instance, we want all the letters to be capital letter. So all I will do is just to change this to uppercase. So once I type U inside to bring uppercase, and if I go back to the front end, you see that what I have changed the whole letter to capital letter. Is that understood?
Yes, sir.
Good. Now, it means that under this test transform, I have been able to demonstrate how many properties, how many values? 2. So I can
2.
also come here and say, okay, lowercase. So what do you think lowercase will generate? What do you think the lowercase will generate? Just to
All
make it
small.
good. So if you
All
come,
with small letters.
so now I want you to compare those appearance we got. Which one do you think is more user friendly between the capitalized, the uppercase, and the lowercase? Which one do you think is more presentable?
The uppercase.
Are you sure? Me, I prefer the capitalized. Let's go back there. I prefer this. Look at it. I prefer this. This one is more matured. But what do you think?
Okay.
Right?
It's still okay. It's still okay. Yeah.
Okay. So now I want to change the color. Now this is inline CSS addition. Now this inline is not actually recognized to be the professional method. The reason is that they what we call debugging. When there is an error, when a code is not running, you will have issue factoring what could be the cause, because right now it will be difficult for you to know whether it is caused by the HTML tag or by the CSS property if there is issue. That is why we are not expected in most cases to use inline method. I just want us to understand that there are what? 3 methods of adding CSS. So I'm going to quickly use the one I would like you to use during your assignment, which is called, remember I've explained inline. So I will explain the other method in our next class. So let me just explain 2 today. So the second method of adding CSS is external CSS addition. So this is the most used method. So what does this method mean? So this is, I believe you are writing, this is where your HTML code are separated from CSS. Did you understand that? They are no longer together. So here now, and the essence of
Yes.
this is to make debugging easier. So if there's any issue, we can turn off one of them and see whether the issue will persist. Then we can easily find out where the error is coming from. But if they are all written in one line, just like we did now, there will be an issue factoring where the error is. So let's quickly look at the steps on how to implement external CSS. Steps on how to implement external CSS. Step number 1, create a CSS file inside the CSS folder. So that was actually the reason why we created this folder called CSS. The reason is that I had an intention of not writing my HTML code and my CSS code in one place. So that's why I created this CSS, so that all my CSS file will be packaged here. While
I'm cracking.
I'm still cracking. Oh. So let me change the. Please let me confirm if this network is better. Is it better?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, so I was talking about steps on how to implement external CSS addition. I said step number 1, create your CSS file, because in this case, you are meant to separate your HTML file from your CSS file. That is why we must create another file where we'll be writing all our CSS from this particular file where we are writing our HTML code. Okay, so let me clear some of this so that you will not be distracted. I was only using them as comment to explain. So how do I go about creating the CSS file? We have already created a folder named CSS with the intention of wrapping all our CSS file inside. So I'll go there and click on that navigator for the icon under CSS to face down. And then I'll click on file. I'll make a file, and then I'll name that file this same name, just to indicate that all the CSS code that will be written in that file are targeted to style all the HTML content in the same index. So I will say index. You can actually use any name, but I'm just trying to make my file accessible. Now, instead of saying .html, because we are working with another language, which is called CSS, you will now do .css. So the moment you type CSS, you can see that it has generated the CSS global icon, which is what? Hash. So the same way we did when we were creating HTML, you simply click outside. So now you have created CSS file. Now, in the case of CSS, we are not bringing any default file. No default file written for you. You have to write your code from scratch. Did you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, since it's external CSS, I have to link them together. There is need for you to connect this file to this file, because all the styling code, like that one that we wrote now, which I have already wiped out, will be written here now, like that text transform. This is where I'm going to be writing it. Now, for example, now, I have to, if I write it here, if I click here and say, I don't have to type style. I will just write what? Comment. So the same thing that the same way you created comment in HTML, control and /. So this is the comment sign in CSS. So what are we about to style? You say styling the heading tag. So for each element in HTML you want to tag, you explain it to yourself or the third party with the comment, so that the person will know, oh, the CSS property that we follow, they are used to style what he or she said will be targeted. So after that, you now type the text transform. That text transform that we type, you type it here. Now, but before that, you will not do that, because this time around, you are talking to an element here. So you have to reference the element in your CSS. You have to tell CSS which of the elements you want to actually what? Style. So you have to know the name of the element to be what? H1. In the next class, I'm going to show you a system where you can class or ID your element. But for now, just work with the name of the element. What is the name of this tag? H1, right?
Yeah.
Now, so I will go to the CSS and start by saying H1. just to tell CSS that what the tag called H1 in that HTML is the one I want to transform. Now, you will now open, you press Shift and press, there is a coiling bracket like this, very close to where you have P, after letter P, there is a key there that has square bracket and coiling bracket. Have you seen it?
Yes, sir.
Good. Now you hold down the Shift key and press it. It will give you this type of bracket. Now what it means is that this is your CSS block. So all the code will be written inside the CSS block. Now this particular H1 is called HTML selector. So that is how you have been able to communicate to CSS that what, pick H1 and then do what? Then I will now type what I want you to do on that H1. Then that is where you now call that text what? Transform. Then you will now do the same thing, capitalize. Now, if I go to the front end now, you notice that nothing has happened to this text that you are speaking to. Why? Because this file and this file, they are not connected. So what I will simply do is to connect this with this. And how do you do that? You don't connect HTML from CSS. You connect CSS from HTML, which means that as you click on this file, then come to this head section, put your cursor here, press enter, and type link like this, link. Then it will prompt you this link tag with these two attributes, the rel and the what? The href. The href means the hyper what reference, which means where is the file. So you come inside it and do that same / to output all your directories. Then you go to the CSS, then you will be able to see the file. So once I click on it now, and I go back to the front end, have you noticed any changes?
Yes.
So which means that what right now there is communication between the index.css and what? Index.what? HTML. So I can come here now and say, okay, I'm going down. I want to change the color. So at the end of the class, you copy all this, whatever I'm writing inside here. I want to change the color. That means I will not call another CSS property for changing color. And what is the property? Color. Just type color like this. Then what is the value? If you say red, you put red, and then go back to the front end, you can see that what? I have also changed what? The color. Are you following?
Yes, sir.
Now, if I want to style this P tag now, I want to style the whole of this write-up now. I want to increase the size. Let's say I'm okay with what? The heading tab, because we are still going to be talking about more of this style. Most of these that I'm showing you right now, just try your best to make sure that you go through the video and replicate everything before the next class. I'm still going to be using them. Okay, now let's say we want to style this particular section. Which of the tag created that section? Remember that what is the P tag. So you now go to that your CSS again, then you come outside the closing. So this is how you say that, okay, I'm done with that element. I want to select another element. So I will use the same comment to explain what I'm about to do. Styling the what? The paragraph tag, which is denoted with P. So you will now come here and also open. So I can delete this one since I did not add more. Anytime I want to add more, I can always expand it. Then I will have to select. I need to also tell CSS which of them do I want to style. So from here, I already know the name to be P. So I will just say P, the shift and that coiling bracket, and then expand it. So what do I want? I want to also increase the size. So I discovered that the size of this write-up by default is too small. So how do I increase the size? So what I'm going to do, I will look for CSS property for increasing font size, which is called font size. So an average font size is 18. So I'll say what? 18 pixel. 18 pixel. So you can say what? 18 what? Inches. So now if I go back to the front end, you can see that what? Have you seen any changes?
Yes.
Good. The write-up increase a little bit, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, if I want to say, let's assume that after looking at it, I discovered that the write-up are still small, I can increase it to like 20, 26, and then I check again. So just make sure that the write-up are not too big, because there are some individuals that do not like reading content in a web page that are too big. So just stay on the moderate, which is what? 18 pixel or 19. Now, finally, I want to change the color of this text before I style the image, and then that is where we will stop, so that you take everything as your assignment. So I want to also change the color. So I also type color. So the color, I want it to be blue. So there are some default color that the program is already displaying. You want to take advantage, fine. Or you can type it by yourself. You can just say what? Blue, and then click. So if I check, I've also what? Upgraded it. Why did I use blue? Because there is a touch of blue. So I'm trying to balance the color in order to have a good user interface. Okay, so now the last thing I want to style is these pictures. So how do I style the pictures? For example, I want to increase the size of the picture, or I want to make one a circular picture. So if I did not get to that aspect today, I will consider that probably in the next class. But let me just focus on how to increase the size and how to reduce the size of this picture. So now, what I'm going to do is the same thing. Come here and use comment to explain what you are doing, styling the images. Styling the images. So I will also come here and find out the image selector. So I will use their general name, because all the images will definitely have what? The same name, called what? IMG. So if I go back to my CSS file now, and I just do IMG, and then I open the declaration block, and I say width. I say, okay, increase it to 500 pixels. Then if I check now, you see that what? I've increased this image size. So if the width is too much, I can also constrain it by saying, okay, the height should also be 500 ps in order to give me square image. So let's check. So if this is better. Now you can see that what I am doing is affecting the both images. So the reason why this one have a kind of white background, that is why it's as if it's still smaller than this. Why this one have a filled background. So now if I want move them to the center, because the space I'm having here, in fact, I think let me stop here. I'll continue the rest in the next class. So there's still much work to do for us to be able to display all this content in a way that it will give users a good experience. So we still have much to do. I don't want to rush us because we still have time. So what I want you to do is to take it as an assignment. Thank God you are recording the video. So go through the video and be able to give me the same appearance that I have now. So in the next class, I will continue with this. I will try as much as possible to make sure that all these elements or content are properly or professionally positioned within the web page to give users better experience. Any question?
Okay, sir. No,
No question, right?
so I'll go through this thing,
Yeah,
the
the
video,
video.
because I have to understand. I have to still go back to the video, but it's
Yeah.
okay.
All right. So good night. So see you on
Thank
Saturday.
you, sir.
Welcome.
Good night, sir.